So when it comes to getting views and growing your YouTube channel, thumbnails are a huge deal. So in this video, I'm gonna be sharing a few tips from my thumbnail process. And we're gonna be covering the actual photography of shooting the thumbnails. Now we're gonna take them over to Photoshop and just go through some basics about making your thumbnails pop more so people click on them so you can get more views on your videos. All of that's coming up right now. Hey, what's up? Sean Cannell here with Think Media, bringing you the best tips and tools for building your influence with online video. And we're actually in a 4-part series all about how to produce YouTube videos that get more views. In part 1, we covered how to shoot a YouTube video. And I just finished up shooting with the Canon M50 here, a tutorial that if you missed that and you want to watch it, I'll link to it on the YouTube card and put a link to it in the description below. And really it's something you can follow along with any DSLR or mirrorless camera. But before we get to editing, which will be part 3, we need to create our thumbnail. And the reason we have a dedicated video just for thumbnails is because it's that big of a deal. Now, one of the biggest mistakes people make, I think, is they forget to actually shoot intentional thumbnails. Have you ever done that before? Let me know in the comments. You like finish up editing and then you go, oh shoot, what should the thumbnail be? And you look for a screenshot. I recommend shooting intentional photos that you think about, what are my emotions on my face? What am I doing in the image? What would people want to click on? And so let's just dive into it right now. All right, now I should mention that if you want to watch the final video from this tutorial series, it's over on my Sean Cannell channel. And what it's all about is a home office walkthrough with some home office decor ideas. And so what I want in the thumbnail is some way to show that off. And so what is cool about if you're shooting thumbnails by yourself, I recommend having a tripod and using the camera timer. And maybe you put yourself in front of like a simple background or whatnot and start the timer. You could also use the app. So if you use your phone, you can fire off photos from your camera in case you're creating as a solo creator and you need to go shoot your own thumbnails. In this case, I'm gonna put this in kind of a selfie mode. So I've got my Joby 3K on here, and we are actually gonna set this in aperture priority, which is gonna focus on the aperture. That's gonna be at as low as it can go, f4, because the 10-22 lens, that's as low as it can go. And then on top of that, we're just gonna pretty much do ISO auto because that'll get the lighting perfect. And I'm going to go to the Q here, go to the timer, and just put it on the selfie timer, 2 seconds. You know, 10 would be fine, but that's a long time to wait. So it's nice that the M50 has this 2-second timer. And then I'm going to, with the flip screen here, be able to compose the shot. And so as it is a home office tour, I'm going to be thinking about where am I looking? I want to make sure I'm looking at the lens, not the selfie screen. Or maybe I want to look to the left or the right. So when it comes to thumbnails, one of the biggest things I think about is emotion. A couple tips on thumbnails. Usually people in the thumbnails is stronger. On YouTube, tests have shown that if you see people's eyes, you see emotions on their face, it can really pull you in. Now, that gets exaggerated, and we've all seen those really bright thumbnails with crazy faces, but I think there's something to it. So always include your own style. So my goal here would be to think about where am I in the shot, and think about kind of the background of the office here. And then all I gotta do to start firing off some photos is do that 2-second timer. It's got the crispy photo on there. Now, another tip here is shoot multiple photos. For big videos that are very important to us, sometimes we even shoot photos in different places. Like maybe I want to shoot one out there or here. I think this is going to be perfect for this particular scene. Additionally, if you want to keep things simple, just having your camera set to a JPEG image, which is your most basic type of image, is fine. And basically you're going to be able to use the photo right out of the camera. Sure, you can make some edits to it. But because I've got the Adobe Creative Cloud, which I highly recommend as you evolve in your journey, I use Lightroom, Photoshop, Adobe Audition for audio, and Adobe Premiere for video editing, and then After Effects if needed for motion graphics, but I usually don't take it that far. And so all of that comes in the Adobe Creative Cloud. If you actually want to do a trial, I'll throw a link to it in the description below. You can, I think, try it out free for a few days. And what's cool about that though is I want to make sure I shoot in RAW, and that way if the image is too dark or I want to change the white balance, it just gives me a lot more flexibility later. So that's another setting I have it on. I'm actually shooting large JPEGs and I'm shooting RAW as well. So it says that's the large JPEG right there. And then you've also got RAW. This new one is actually a Canon Creative RAW. That'd be good too if you've got your Lightroom or your Photoshop updated. Again, to keep it simple, don't even worry about this. But if you want the best, quality possible, I've got it to RAW. So now let me shoot a couple different versions. I'd like to probably shoot 6 to 12 photos because you can always delete them. But once you're sitting down later to edit and you're like, it's dark out and the light's all gone and you're like, crap, I don't really have any good options. I've never regretted overshooting. So let's get a couple more right now. All right, nice clean light. I like it with the eyes looking over. I can always crop the image. Last thing I'm gonna do here as we get towards our, we're shooting about 12 different photos, is I wanna actually really go rule of thirds. And so when I think about shot composition, there's all these nice posters over here. Over here is the chair and some other clutter. So what I'm gonna do is get my focus right and then kind of shift the shot so it shows off the office. So basically I'm framing myself up behind all this stuff I don't want to see. I love the camera lenses over there. I always like to put myself as close to the edge of the thumbnail as possible, really thinking about the framing. And again, I don't mind having options. So here we go. Let's just do one final one. Okay, so we shot our thumbnails on the M50, so now let's pop the SD card out and capture those files. Okay, now that our files are captured, let's look through our options and then we'll pull them into Photoshop. And so here's the full shoot. I can open these up and then kind of click through. That one's a little bit out of focus, and that's why it's nice to shoot multiple, right? You have different options that you can go through to look for the one that you ultimately want to use. I really like this one. I kind of would crop it right through here, so maybe we'll go with that, but let's look through these other ones. And remember, by having lots of thumbnail options, you can potentially get like that perfect emotion or facial expression that you want. I really like the eyes looking because it directs attention to maybe some words that we can put on here. So let's go with this one. It's 8828. This raw file, drag this over here to Photoshop. And perfect, loving this photo. And now I've got camera raw settings, which again, when you shoot in raw, you're gonna be able to have more kind of micro adjustments to maybe, I actually kind of want the background to be a little bit darker because it's all about emphasizing, me for a thumbnail. The face really matters, eyes matter. If you can include the eyes, have those, there's just been studies done that have shown that eyes and human faces perform really well in thumbnails. So this photo is looking pretty great right as is. And of course we could do a lot of adjustments and things to it, but I think we're pretty good to go with it the way it is. So what I'm gonna do is actually press Control J. I'm using a PC that duplicates the layer. And so that I can change our canvas size. And this is gonna allow me to go to the exact thumbnail size of a 1080 thumbnail. And so 1920 by 1080 is the resolution. If I click over here, I'm gonna hold Shift to maintain the resolution while I do this, or maintain so the image doesn't get stretched weird. Control plus to zoom in, and this gives me the ability to sort of adjust the image inside of the frame that will go on YouTube. And kind of got those cameras behind me. I don't know if anyone would notice what those are, so those lenses might be unnecessary. The main thing people are gonna maybe see is this kind of cool light. And all right, so we've got that. And next thing I want to do is add some text here. Now, the title of this video, I like planning ahead. If you can research before you press record, is going to be 10 cool home office design ideas. But one mistake people make is trying to include every single word in their title and their thumbnail. You don't need all of them, but sometimes it's nice to put some words in your thumbnail. So I'm using the text tool, and I'm going to go with one of my favorite fonts, which is Helvetica New, and then there's lots of niche fonts inside of there. So I'm gonna go Helvetica New Black Italic. That's one of my favorites. Perfect, okay. So do that, change that over to white. You got my toolbar here. Let's zoom in on our Photoshop. All right, cool. And one of my favorite things is just keeping it really simple and readable. So I'm going to drag a little rectangle box. Now Photoshop works by layers. In the lower right hand corner of your screen, you can see that there are layers. So cool is above this little box now. And I think what we'll go for is if I go cool, I can stretch this up. I can make this larger, really easy. I'm always holding shift to preserve the, to make sure that everything doesn't get stretched weird. One of the big mistakes people can make is skewing their image, like stretching a face wrong or something can look really, really ugly. So we're gonna go cool and put this kind of above. Because the way the image is looking, I'm gonna fit sort of my text right up here. Now I'm gonna press Control J, that duplicates the layer. So I was selected the layer cool over here, now it's cool copy. And so I can change the word to office. So go office, stretch this out, cool, office. Now for some contrast, I'm going to make office black. And so it stands out a little bit more between the cool. Put my control bracket left or right to make the layer go higher or lower. The other way you could do that is you can just drag layers over here above and below your word. So there's the office word, there's the white rectangle below it. I can tilt that, grabbing the edge of it, rotate it a little, shrink down my the box around it. Perfect, cool office. And then finally, we'll go ideas. So same thing, right? The full video title in this case is gonna be 10 home office design ideas, but you don't need to repeat every single word. So it's just, what is the main thing people are looking for? They're looking for home office stuff. Duplicated my white box. I'm gonna switch it back to black now. I think I did that accidentally twice, so let me delete one of those layers. Control bracket to lower that layer down. Delete one of those extra rectangles, perfect. So now ideas is got some emphasis, and you know, your style, I would encourage you, of course, to always have your own style, and not that my style is right or wrong, but one priority that I have is clarity. Like I really believe online that if you confuse, you lose. And so I want, I like simple fonts, I like readable fonts. Sometimes if things get kind of more too cursive, too Comic Sans, they just are hard to read. And so I like clarity over being clever or being kind of even cool, right? So just nice and simple, right? So we've got cool home office ideas. I still got my layer here if I want to move me a little bit over here, whatever. I'm looking right at the ideas, and beyond that, we're pretty much done, but there's a few things that I also like to do. I do realize that, think about your thumbnail when it's online, sometimes the title is over top, so if you can move text away from the edges, that helps. Also avoid putting text in the lower right-hand corner because that's where the time code is on YouTube, right? Just thinking through those best practices. My final thing that I like to do, I'm gonna put a layer right above my photo, and it's gonna be levels. And levels gives me 3 sliders over here on the right that will really, see, I can make the image brighter, and I can also pull it from this side and make it much more contrasty and make it kind of darker. So what I like to do is really get the thumbnail to pop. Something with, when it comes to thumbnails that people have studied is that you usually want to go a little bit of extra saturation. I can do another adjustment layer for that. I could go vibrance on here, and I could add a little bit more vibrance. It's going to make it a little extra, maybe more than you would normally do if you wanted your skin tone to be more matte and natural. But again, a thumbnail is so small, you want it to pop. So it's a little bit of extra vibrance and saturation. The levels can kind of pull it up a little brighter. But if we want the background to be a little bit darker, kind of, and we're pretty much there. Sometimes this is a little bit more advanced. This is kind of just a beginner's thumbnail tutorial, and I encourage you, check out some training links in the description below if you want to go deep in Photoshop and really master it. But one of the things I like to do, I'm going to add a blank layer here, and I'm going to use the gradient tool. Make sure my gradient's on black, and so it is. And so if I drag from here, I can do a gradient just like that. That makes it, and I'm deleting it just to kind of, and then I can use opacity here to come down and just sort of even darken that edge so maybe this stuff pops more, cool home office ideas. But at some point you could endlessly tweak, right, the details of something like this. So I think that really we're good to go and that this should be a super solid thumbnail. So now our final step here is to just go File, Save As, and in our final format, what I like to do is I keep everything organized on Dropbox by month, and that way we can I can get to it easy from my phone and whatever else. But what I really like to do is save the PSD so I can always reopen it and edit it later if I need to. So I might tile, 10 cool home office ideas. And then I save that Photoshop file in case I want to open it later to reuse it. And then I'm going to say Save As JPEG, and that is the exact file that we will upload later to YouTube as our thumbnail. Okay, so a few other things you need to know about thumbnails. And the first is, again, if you want to use Photoshop, I understand this was not like a super exhaustive tutorial on Photoshop. There are free ones of those on YouTube, or you can check out a site like Lynda. So I definitely recommend skilling up if you want to use Photoshop, but I think that some of the concepts can be applied here. Also, we'll be covering more thumbnail tutorials in the future here on Think Media, because we shoot them definitely outdoors, different variety, whether you're shooting by yourself or you have someone helping you. So look forward to those videos in the future and make sure you're subscribed. Also, if you've been getting value out of this video, can you smash the like button? And here's what is next. The next video is now about editing. In part 1, we shot all the footage with the M50. In part 2, this video, it's all about getting the right photography and editing up your thumbnail. But then in part 3, I'm now gonna edit the footage that I shot into our final video. This is all going into a video that you can watch on my Sean Cannell channel so you can see the final product. So I'll link to that on the YouTube card and put it in the description below. And then of course in part 4, we're gonna be talking about exporting it with the best settings for YouTube, helping walk you through concept to completion for creating content with whatever camera you have, but especially if you have the M50. Question of the day, what software or how do you currently edit thumbnails? Do you shoot extra ones? Do you just pull them out of your video? What do you do for thumbnails? Tell me in the comment section below, and I will see you in part 3 of this video. Peace.